All right. Good morning. I'm Tiffany Stewart Stanley, and I am here today with Representative William Boddie from House District 62. And we are here because Representative Boddie has partnered with the Atlanta Food Bank to provide summer meals to children in his district. So I give to you, Representative Boddie, to speak about the House Meals Summer Meals program.
Thank you so much. Thank you all for being here today. Really appreciate the news media coming to cover such a very important issue that we're having in our schools. My name is State Representative William Boddie of House District 62. I cover District 62. District 62 covers South Fulton and parts of Douglas County, as well as a precinct in the city of Douglasville. On the South Fulton side, we cover historic College Park, a large portion of East Point, the new city of South Fulton, and parts of Union City. First, I would like to say this school year, according to the Georgia Department of Education, some 1 million children are enrolled in free or reduced lunch programs in the state of Georgia. So when schools are closed for the summer, students have less access to nutritious meals as they rely on free and reduced price lunches and breakfast. As you know, many youth within District 62 may be deprived of essential meals during school breaks and during the summer break. In an effort to combat youth hunger this summer, I have partnered with the Atlanta Community Food Bank to fight youth hunger throughout my district, House District 62, by identifying, promoting meal sites, locations within my district to provide both breakfast and lunches to youth who are in need. I have also reached out to some of my elected friends and have asked them to also help me promote this effort throughout House District 62. I call my elected officials within my district my community partners. And I have some of those partners here today who's going to help me identify additional meal locations and to also help me promote the issue or the message of fighting youth hunger. One of those elected officials who's a good friend of mine, we share district together in House District 62 in Douglas County, is County Commissioner of Douglas County, District 2, Mr. Kelly Robinson. I will have Mr. Robinson come to address you all at this time. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Kelly Robinson. I represent Douglas County's District 2, which cuts across the Chattahoochee River. That is what separates us from our colleagues over in East Point, over in South Fulton City, all up under House Representatives District 62. But I'm excited about being here. And I'm going to share a quick story about the importance of fighting hunger during the summer. Again, I was born in Cleveland, Ohio, moved down here, went to Lakeshore High School out in South Fulton. And so this is all about home. And it was one of those times when I'm about fourth grade. And I remember I was in trouble. I got on punishment for some reason. But I'm at home, and I'm coming off of this period of time being in the fourth grade. And here's the story. There was one of those cases where I was raised as a single child, single parent raising a single child. And it was one of those that meals were important. Right, you got to think about it. This is back in the 70s. It's about 77. Right? All we had was the Hyatt Hotel downtown. The Peachtree had just come online. And it was one of those where meals were scarce. And you think about it, 70% of your tax dollars goes to the Board of Education. It goes to educating. And there's something about stability with meals. Right? And so we ensure that that's done there. But when that summer comes, there's a little instability sometimes in some families. And so I remember this one of those things where my father called to check on me from Cleveland because we were down here with my mother. And it was one of those like, well, I'm in trouble, but I want to go with my friends who just called to get a meal at the school. And he said, why? He said, why? He said, because I'm hungry. And it was one of those, it was a defining moment. I don't remember that. I mean, this is like 40-something years ago. And I remember that like today, of how important it was that in the midst of that moment, in that in all that I had went through, what was more important to me versus going to tennis lessons or doing any of those things was to get a meal. And so when I heard about this program that's being put forth, Fighting Hunger amongst our youth, when I thought about the food bank and the things that are being done, when Representative Boddie came to me, it was immediately like, I'm all behind this. the full weight. You know, I represent Douglas County's District 2, again, an important partner as it relates to this, but more importantly, we have youth. We're excited about Boundary Waters being part of this. We're excited about Victory Baptist Church being part of this. I mean, I'm putting my whole office behind finding ways in which we can get other partners to participate in this, because addressing hunger allows me to be stabilized to do more, to add to society. Whether I'm a student or an adult, a meal is important. Okay, so whether you got breakfast or lunch, those things are key. And so when I think about the partners that are here that I've got to get to know more, and as I think about my other colleagues who are elected, this is something that we must address. You can't take it for granted. Everybody doesn't have 3 meals. If you think about the people that are in our systems, our institutions, they get 3 meals. But those who are out here providing for that may not be able to. And so sometimes you got to think about how this is all erected. And so because we're able to step in here and join, I join with my colleagues. I join with State Representative William Boddie. Sir, I thank you so much for allowing me to participate in this, because I think this is something that is so needed, and sometimes we miss the point. We take it for granted. I thank the job of the food bank for what you do. I mean, this is something, even for me, and all that I've become, I don't forget where I came from. Like, no, that one meal was important. Going with my friends down to the high school to get a meal was that important to me 40 years ago as it is to the same people that are live today that are of that age. So with that being said, all I want to do is commit to District 2, to District 62, that we are here. We're here for you, and we'll continue to advance what needs to be done regarding fighting hunger amongst our youth. I yield.
Thank you so much, Commissioner. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. Yes. Next, I have the honor of introducing my city councilwoman from East Point, City Councilwoman Stephanie Gordon. Stephanie Gordon reached out to me, Councilman Gordon reached out to me and said, William, we have to do something. The food bank has reached out to me, and we have an issue here in East Point, but also we have an issue in South Fulton and in your district and in Douglas County and throughout the metro areas of youth hunger. And we're going to have to address this issue this summer. And I was like, okay, Stephanie, what do we need to do? Well, the food bank has reached out to me, and they want us to be partners. So I don't think she knew at the time. I was like, okay, Stephanie, we're going to do it. I'm going to chair this effort, and you're going to be my vice chairman. So I have my vice chairman here today, and also my city councilwoman from East Point here to talk about this great program.
Thank you so much. I absolutely must thank Representative William Boddie for not hesitating when I did make the call. And I thank him for expanding what I thought was a simple vision into one that is truly magnanimous. I'd also like to thank the Atlanta Community Food Bank, because they do a yeoman's work each and every day to service communities throughout the state of Georgia. We know that school breaks can be a very challenging time for our youth, particularly when they are left, a child is left each day to determine how or even if they will receive a meal each day. And that absolutely shouldn't happen. So it is incumbent upon us as local leaders, our residents, our faith and business stakeholders to come together and fill the gap to make sure that each and every day that the children in our communities, particularly District 62, where many of the schools see student participation in the free and reduced lunch program at 80% or more, we must fill in the gap. We must stand up for our youth. So I'm so excited, and I'm truly happy that this partnership has developed, and I look forward to what happens not only in 2017 but beyond. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Gordon. Now I have the honor of introducing Ms. Lauren Waits. Ms. Waits is our representative here from the Atlanta Community Food Bank, and she's just going to talk to you a little bit about the inner workings of this youth program, this youth meals program, and the history of the program, and a little background on the program. And I am, again, very honored, as well as the elected officials here, my staff as well, to be a part of such a great effort to make sure we address and fill in the gap of an issue that affects our youth, not only in District 62, but throughout the state of Georgia. Again, I will introduce to you Ms. Waits. Thank you, Ms. Waits. Thank you.
Thank you so much. On behalf of the Atlanta Community Food Bank, I want to thank our elected officials for helping call attention to this issue. We have worked with summer hunger programs coordinated by the Department of Early Care and Learning and the Georgia Department of Education for many years now through the Georgia Food Bank Association and on our own. We are now this summer lifting up and taking on our own shoulders some of the promotional work to make sure that families know where these meals are. There are 42 different meal sites in District 62. And we know during the school year, children know where they can get their meals. They go to school. If they're on the free and reduced lunch program, they can get their meals in their school buildings. In the summer, it becomes much more confusing. We have a patchwork, a network of different providers. Some are private, some are faith organizations, some churches do them. And so we first and foremost want to help connect families and children with these 42 meal sites in District 62 and across our 29 county service area. So for pure informational purposes, folks who need food can go to acfb.org for a site that will allow them to find the nearest summer feeding site to their family. Secondly, we really want to underscore the need and how great it is. The folks here have already spoken very effectively about the importance of food, the importance of feeding kids in the summer when those regular systems are disrupted. What we want to make sure you're aware of are the numbers. 63% of kids in Georgia receive in K through 12 receive a free and reduced price meal, but that percentage drops to 17% in the summer. And really, they're apples and oranges, because when you're counting that 17%, that's any child who got any food through any of the summer feeding programs. It's not the same as that consistent year-round. So it might be for 10 days, it might be for 10 weeks, which is the best case. But we see a need over the long term, and appreciate this so much as a kickoff and a beginning, both to serve the kids who are out there and participating now, but also to grow those programs, to provide more community support for those networks of providers who eagerly take this on and make sure that our kids get the nutritious food they need. One last point is why it's so important that children get this food. Children's brains are developing all year long, not just from August to May. They must have not just enough food, but the right food. And so the federal meals funding, the rules that come through for the summer hunger providers, really make sure that kids get all of those good, healthy, nutritious foods for their optimal development. So very much appreciate the work of all of you all in District 62 and look forward to this being the beginning of a much more robust program in Georgia.
Thank you so much, Ms. Waits. And I would say here today that we plan on doing this every summer. And we're going to be community partners, and we're going to lead the effort, because we want this effort not only to be 62, but we want this to go throughout the state of Georgia. So other House districts, other senatorial districts, we want to make sure this is a cornerstone of every summer that students and youth can look to the Atlanta Food Bank and our elected officials as a resource to eat. And before I close, I want to make sure that I address or identify some of my community partners who are elected officials who have signed up for this effort. First and foremost is a good friend of mine and my county commissioner, Commissioner Marvin Arrington Jr. of Fulton County, is going to be a part of this effort. He wanted to be here today, but in South Fulton, we had a very serious automobile accident yesterday afternoon that really was a fatality amongst a lot of individuals. It was a church van, and we have some elected officials that are dealing with that and just being there for the family. So Commissioner Marvin Arrington could not be here for that reason. Also, City Councilwoman Helen Willis of the new city of South Fulton would have been here today, but for that incident last night. I believe they have a press conference this morning with the victim's family, so they both send their well wishes, and they will be actively involved in this program. Also, I have, of course, District 2 Commissioner Kelly Robinson, who's here today from Douglas County. Also, City Councilwoman Carletha Gums of the new city of South Fulton is going to be involved in this effort as well. Also, Union City Councilman Brian Jones is going to be involved in this effort, as well as Union City Councilwoman Christina Hobbs is going to be involved in this effort as well. Also, we have City Councilwoman Deanna D. Ingram is going to be involved in this effort. Also, we have, lastly, she's not an elected official, but she's appointed City of College Park Business Development Committee member Sabrina Willis is going to be involved in this effort. So I want to leave you all with just the saying of, or the thought of, if you ever been hungry, and if you ever needed something to eat, say you're in college or you're studying, we all know that once you get hungry, you can't think properly. You can't focus properly. So what we want to make sure is that we want to make sure that we put meals into the stomachs of these young youth and these young students during the summer so they can continue to be active, continue to be focused, continue to move forward with anything they do in their daily activities this summer, and they don't have to worry about where their next meal is going to come from. So I'm going to close, and I thank you all for being here again. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, and I will answer those questions. If I can't answer those questions, I will have my partner here from the food bank, Ms. Waits, to help me address any issues or concerns or questions you may have. I open the floor.
What's the next step? When do the 42 sites open, and what's next after this?
Actually, we had the food bank, and I'm gonna let the food bank address that, had a big campaign kickoff just yesterday down in Hateville. So it started yesterday, and it's going to go through probably the first or second week in August. We look for a lot of the newer sites to be in line once they're approved within a week. It takes about a week or 8 days to get those sites approved through the state so they can actually start to accept those meals. But I will let Ms. Waits kind of chime in on that as well.
Sure. So when we at the food bank speak about our piece of the campaign, the promotions and the public awareness trying to connect families with those food sites did officially begin yesterday. Summer providers themselves are quite customized. One may begin 1 week, another may begin another, depending on the funding or their capacity. They may be able to serve breakfast and lunch. They may only be able to serve lunch. And so that is why we really encourage individuals to go to acfb.org if they need food, because it may be that a place down the road is going to provide food for 2 weeks, and then after that, they might need to shift to another location. The meals are available all summer long, and I think, is there anything else? I think that hopefully answers your question.
And I just also want to add that as far as the elected officials in our part of this, we're looking to do a kickoff campaign ourselves for House District 62. And so you all know we have a lot of elected officials involved, so we have to get those moving parts together and come up with a date and a place. We also plan on going to a location, a mill site within South Fulton and one in Douglas County to actually have a day where the elected officials are going to come in and do some enrichment, speak with the students and the youth, and also just reach out and just be there so they can ask us questions, see their elected officials, talk about, a little bit about the political process and how it relates to them, but also just get to know them. So we're looking forward to doing that, and we're actually in the process of planning those actual, I call them enrichment sessions with our youth and our students throughout House District 62. We're also going to be promoting this, and I ask each elected official to use their resources, as Commissioner Kelly Robinson stated before, and I know Commissioner Marvin Arrington and City Councilwoman Gordon, is to utilize your resources, their resources, websites, social media. We're going to do the same with my capabilities, and of course, asking the House to actually help me as well to push the message. The most important part is letting people know this resource is available to you and your families or anyone you know in need. So that's the most important thing is pushing the narrative and making sure people know about this great effort. And before I close out, if we don't have any more questions, I want to personally thank Attorney Tiffany Stanley, who's going to serve as our executive director of the House District 62 Youth Summer Meals Program. So thank you, Tiffany, for being involved in this effort. She is a catalyst for doing a lot of great things, not only in Fulton County, but of course Douglas County. So we thank you for being involved. And also my legislative director here, G. Burnett, is going to be involved, and she's going to help us out as well. And I have two of my interns here, and I thank them. And also House Media Services. So we definitely going to make sure we get the message out and make sure that students know about it, parents know about it, grandparents, and everybody that needs to utilize this resource. I thank the Food Bank again for allowing me to be a part of this. And I thank Councilwoman Gordon for really reaching out and saying, William Boddie, we need to do something, and we're going to do something. And we're going to make sure that if we can't save the world, we're going to save as many as we possibly can. So thank you all. Thank you for being here.